Got some questions for you guys.
Nice. Are they any good?
We'll see.
What's your confidence meter in your questions today?
You know what? I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about a couple of them. I always like to, because when you ask questions, I'll go out and do my walk, and I'm always like, okay, I wonder if this would be good for my guys to talk about this.
Dude, walks are supposed to be like one of the best things you can do for like brain creativity.
Well, when you're 61 years old too, it's like
you're hanging on by a thread.
You have to do it. Yeah,
running and reading.
Yeah, running
and reading.
Man,
Boy, I get so many great ideas when I put those two together.
Yeah. I cannot.
Oh my God.
I couldn't imagine this because I did a lot of running and like having to. And I get motion sickness when I like in a car.
Or read while you're running.
Yeah, and I could see like moving around and how that might be a problem.
I mean, kind of like reading afterwards, after a good run, or maybe before a good run. I'm just saying, put those combinations together.
I was kind of
literally and reading. At the
I was trying to think running and reading, and I'm like, man, Lucius has got a special skill.
No, I need music.
That's a steady stride.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. That is very, keeping it all in one spot. I was thinking of books, like audio books.
Audiobook would work
too. You guys listen to audiobooks?
I love audiobooks, but I can't do it while working out. No.
Okay.
No.
Sometimes when I'm flying. Yeah,
and
if
it
I
has
forget
to
a
be
book.
Sorry, my bad. It has to be the author. It has to be the author.
Yeah.
Okay, the author.
I like when the author does read the thing. I'm in.
So you don't like you get a professional voiceover person. They're doing character voices.
That's cool too. That's cool too. But if I get like an autobiography or something like that, I want to hear you tell your story, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a deal though, where like, kind of like the. It's not important. I was thinking something about.
It's not.
It's pretty par for the
If you
course.
listen to a book, is that considered reading a book? That's what I was.
It's different digestion because you can tune out easier. Yeah, but I think you can get most of it. I don't think it's the same.
It's not reading, but I guess you could say like, I've read that book.
Yeah,
that book was read.
Like,
that book was read to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I listened to that book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder because like people that usually read have really good vocabulary, right? Because they're actually reading the words.
You would think.
What if you hear the
sometimes
words?
you read the word and you're not actually pronouncing it right. That happens to me in my life.
Yeah,
I read this word the wrong way for 20 years.
Yeah.
You know, type of thing.
Okay.
Never said it out loud.
The audiobook, I need to give that a go.
It's cool. Don't do it too much because you lose the reading muscle. I got like tired after like 4 pages of reading one time. I was like, man,
I lost that in 1986. LSU. Yeah. All right. Hey, Dawson, let me start with you on this one if I could.
Sure, let's rock.
All right. Currently, the most important offensive player is CeeDee Lamb or Rico Dowdle.
Oh, it's CeeDee Lamb. I think you could get a lot of players. Rico Dowdle is just maybe an average runner, but CeeDee Lamb's the guy. He still can dictate coverages. When you lose that guy who can command a double team, your offense is devastated. So I think it's CeeDee Lamb opening a lot of stuff for these guys, like Micah's opening stuff for the other pass rushers.
How about you, Chief? Currently the most important offensive player, CeeDee Lamb or Rico Dowdle?
I agree with everything Dawson said there. I mean, imagine this offense where CeeDee Lamb's not playing. You're like, oh my gosh, who are we throwing to? Every time they throw to somebody not named CeeDee, you're like, why did we do that? Yeah, put you in a position where you have to do that. You're in a world of trouble. But I sorry to bring it back to me, but I would say, like, Rico was averaging 4.5 even when they were struggling.
Yeah.
And I think they were struggling so bad in part because they were trying to make Zeke relevant.
That's that part of it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So the drop-off from Rico is drastic, but just not as big as the drop-off from CeeDee to the other guys.
Yeah, I'm still going CeeDee, the big plays. When you saw it on that first drive for a touchdown, third down, CeeDee Lamb conversion, third down, CeeDee Lamb conversion, third and goal, boom, CeeDee Lamb touchdown. I think that there's always going to be elements with the running back and the running game with this team that is extremely important, but it's CeeDee.
Can they live within, I'll ask you guys the questions because you all said CeeDee. Could they live with Cooper Rush having no running game and just throwing the ball to CeeDee?
Hell no.
No.
No. And
they wouldn't win games.
I think Cooper Rush has some intangible qualities that help him manage the game for success, and that's why he had so much success a couple of years ago. And now, if it wasn't for the Cincinnati disaster, his record the last 2 times you've called upon him would be way over 500.
Yeah.
So I have a lot more respect for Cooper Rush, I think, than a lot of people do, and Rico Dowdle. But, no, Cooper Rush can't do squat without a run game.
They tried it. They threw it 55 times against Houston. Lost 34-10. They gave the ball to Rico 10 times.
Yeah. But see, that's the argument why I would say currently that I think that Rico Dowdle is more important than CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, I don't know that they're winning. Like, if you take away what CeeDee did on Sunday, do they win the game still?
They don't play him in the second half of games sometimes.
Right.
You know, and I just kind of, they hand the ball to Rico Dowdle 25 times, and they get it
for the first
You
time.
lose CeeDee Lamb, you're done. You lose Rico Dowdle, you start poaching guys from practice squads until you find somebody else.
I kind of feel like
you'd be fine.
Why do I feel like you're done if you lose Rico Dowdle?
Rico's your second best offensive player right now. Yeah, for sure.
Just weird. I mean, I just was sitting there thinking, because I was wondering, like, God, how important really is Rico Dowdle? He's
become very important
because we've seen in the second half of games they can't get the ball to CeeDee Lamb, or they choose not to, or teams take him away. But I've kind of seen teams try and stack boxes and do things against Rico Dowdle, and they still average over 4 yards of play, running the football. So I don't know. I was just curious about that. Chief, has Mike Zimmer been just as good as Dan Quinn?
Yeah, I would say in some ways he's been better. I mean, he's had less ingredients at his disposal, so to speak. And we illustrated last week what he did, or what he's been doing with Micah Parsons, getting him in unblocked scenarios, which is not something that Dan Quinn was really able to do. And you're at least seeing the run game, the run defense look better. It's against poor opponents, but they're at least looking respectable from that standpoint at this point. So, yeah, I would say that it's been more impressive.
Chief, I'm sorry, Wooly?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough with the first half of the season. I mean, they lost in ways that they hadn't, I guess, consistently lost under Dan Quinn, but we did see some of those defensive falling apart games where it was like, what the hell's going on here? So, yeah, I think that he's using Micah. I like what Eric said there with Zim and the way he's using Micah. I think he's using him in some ways that we didn't see DQ use. He's better with the matchups. I thought what you talked about, the hunting of the matchups,
Yeah.
I don't know that Dan Quinn would always have done that. So I'd lean, I think there is more upside with Mike Zimmer, yeah.
I do believe in this defense. I'm not going to say yet because of the job that Dan Quinn did in the heart of his run where, man, they were really good holding the Niners in that playoff game. It wasn't the defense that lost that game. I think we remember the Green Bay game a lot, and there were some bad moments last year where he really could not get a handle on how to get his guys to play with more integrity and stop the run better. And I think starting with this Tampa game, this is where the truth is going to hit because they're at 5.2 an attempt.
Yeah. That's a good point. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I think
Philly,
yeah.
It could get ugly.
Okay, let me ask you this, and you say 5.2 of an attempt. Has Mike Zimmer fixed the running game then?
Up till this point, yes. But, Cincinnati didn't run.
Did Dan Quinn ever fix the running game?
No,
not against a good running team.
So Mike Zimmer, the one thing he has done for this defense is he's made the run defense better.
It looks that way right now, but again, as we go through these final 3 games, I think that has an opportunity to look like, well, we just played 4 teams in a row that were horrible running the football.
Yeah. I guess outside of the Commanders would be the one team that you're like, hey, that was a respectable rushing attack that you were able to slow down. Granted, you met them at a time where they were kind of in a downward spiral just generally as a team, but that's the only team that you're like, hey, that's a respectable rushing attack, and you slowed it down nicely. But otherwise, it has been against a bunch of bad teams.
Wooly, bigger impact for the future of this defense, Marshawn Nealon or Maris Leafau?
Leafau. And I like Nealon a lot. I mean, my goodness, when you talk about the Tank replacement, he's in-house there with Marshawn Nealon. And maybe they bring back Tank. I don't know that. But Nealon's ability to set the edge but also give you more when it comes to pass rushing than I anticipated. But Leafau is that guy that they're going to be missing, right, without Overshown. You need somebody, and who knows about Eric Kendricks. The way that he's able to identify, process, and go, I think is only going to get better. The more he plays, the more reps, the smarter, the more the game slows down. Leafau's got all the intangibles that you want, the instincts, the football IQ. He's around. I think he's just going to make more impact consistently on the game.
Dawson.
I think Nealon is good enough to be a solid defensive end, give you mediocre pass rush and help you stop the run a little bit. But ultimately, he's a working class kind of guy. Might have a nice little 8-9 year career, but will never approach the stardom. I do think Leofau has some splash to his game.
Sure. How about you, Chieftain?
Yeah, he definitely has more splash. I actually think I like the consistency of knowing what I'm going to get from Marshawn Nealon all the time. Like, if you go back and watch Leofau on Sunday, there are some splash plays, and then there's some plays where you're getting caught up and you're getting bullied. And he has been better than I anticipated him being, so I think he can be a solid player, but I think there's going to be a volatility to his game more so than Marshawn Nealon. I think you just know exactly the consistency of what you're going to get from him. No splash, really, but just solid every down player.
All right, the final one here real quick. Dawson, rank and order these offensive linemen and their level of play.
Oh, I've been watching them for years, Brian.
Guyton, Smith, Beebe, Hoffman, Steele.
You got Tyler Smith. You got Terrence Steele. You have Hoffman, Beebe, and then Guyton.
Chief?
Guyton, Smith, Beebe, Hoffman, Steele. Those are the guys we're working with, right?
Yeah, you're working with Guyton, Smith, Beebe, Hoffman, Steele. Rank them in order of how of the current play.
Yeah, I think it's Smith, Hoffman, Beebe, Steele, Guyton.
I agree. Yeah. I think you go Tyler Smith. I think Brock Hoffman, when he's played, he's been arguably your best lineman anytime he's been in there. Cooper Beebe, I thought, was playing pretty well. Then I'd slide in Terrence Steele, who's played well the last 2 weeks, and ultimately Guyton, who's been kind of up and down.
And a real quick final question. Would you worry about Hoffman playing 17 games?
Absolutely. Yeah. Everything we just said about Mike Zimmer and this improving defense applies to Brock Hoffman, and he's having the benefit of getting to play against really bad defensive lines. So he's going to look good. I would imagine on a snap-by-snap basis, he has had one of the better years, but he got to avoid the actual nightmare defensive lineman gauntlet that they ran the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's fair to say the jury's still out on a lot of these guys. You want to see it against quality opponents. You do, and you'll get that chance
next 3 weeks. Yeah. How about you there, Wooly, real quick?
The rankings?
No. Hoffman, you worried about him for 17. Would you be worried about him
I'm becoming less and less worried about him. I really am. I just think Brock Hoffman's got some grit and game. Like, he's a gamer. He shows up on Sundays and he finds a way to get the job done.
Yeah.